Well, here we are. It is, let's see, what day is today? It's Thursday, September 22nd, 2022. And we're going to take a look today at the results from the Doyle sale, which happened yesterday for Asia Week in New York. Other sales are still going on. Sotheby's had a couple of pretty good sales, I have to say. Christie's has got some things coming up. So we're going to be doing those videos separately because I think it's very interesting to sort of break it down auction house by auction house, see how they did. Doyle's had a great day. There's no other way to say it. I'm really pleased. The results were quite excellent all the way across the board. There's nothing to really complain about here at all. They had the usual few buy-ins that didn't quite make their reserves for whatever reason. But in general, things were at the estimates or well above them. They did a great job with the auction. The snuff bottles all did quite well, pretty much. This nice little lot we talked about last week, I think went for a very reasonable price. I think some dealer is going to make money with this lot here, a group of all these snuff bottles. It was estimated at $2,500 to $3,500, went a little under that, went for $1,638. These figures will all include the buyer's premium. That's the total price paid by the bidder, all right? But across the board, it looked good. It looked good. The jades did well. They had some jades that really took off. Other jades sort of went within the range. And for the most part, they all sold. They had a couple that didn't quite make it. One of them was this model jade falcon that was estimated at $15,000 to $20,000. Didn't take off, but other than that, in general, all of the lots in the jade section did well. And we're going to take a look at some of the lots. We're going to go back and take a look at some of the lots that I talked about before the sale that I picked out that I thought were pretty nice. We're going to look at some others as well. But I was just always curious to see, you see something that you like in an auction and what do you think it's going to bring? Do you think the estimate's reasonable? And you sort of make up your mind about what you think about it and then see how it did. And the first lot that I talked about last week, I remember, was this table. It was estimated at $6,000 to $8,000. I thought it was a fabulous table. Beautifully carved, nice details, all the way up it. And there, incidentally, before I go on, there's another table very similar to it on the global member pages right now. That's in another auction. So if you missed this one, you can get that one. But this was a great table. Beautiful marble top. The top looked like it was in fabulous condition. The carving was all good. There wasn't a lot of excessive wear anywhere, not even around the feet. I mean, it was just in beautiful shape. Brought $20,160. So it brought 2.5 times its high estimate, which is a very good result. But the table was worth it. This was a good table. Really nice. And the next one we talked about was this China trade painting of this court scene, very nicely done. Something I didn't mention last week, but on Doyle's, if you go to their website and you want to enlarge the picture, you put the cursor over the scene, and then you scroll forward your mouse. And you'll see on the left how it brings it right in and magnifies it. So you get a better look at that little detail right there. It's a very handy little tool. Some of you may not be aware of it, so I'm bringing that up. You don't double click it; you just scroll your mouse and it pulls the image right in. This painting was estimated at $3,000 to $5,000. Ended up selling for $3,780. It's a good result. It could have brought more, but it was a very nice painting. I think somebody got a beautiful picture they're going to love for a long time. Nice painting. And then the robe, we talked about this because I thought the apricot color was so attractive, and the estimate seemed very reasonable. And again, as I've said in other videos, often the estimate is just an indication that the reserve is modest. They're not necessarily really telling you what the thing is going to bring. They probably think it'll bring more, but they put a low estimate on it to let you know that the reserve is, on this, for example, in this case, couldn't have been above $999. All right, I suspect it was probably around 900 or something, but it went way over that. It went for three times its high estimate. Just about brought $4,400. But this was a nice robe, beautiful details. If you zoom in on the needlework on this, it was really, really good, and that warm apricot color is terrific. That's a beautiful color. All right. Now, what else do we have here? Oh yeah, the other robe. This was the dragon robe, a really fine dragon robe, bright colors, pristine condition. This robe was in great shape. It looked like the sleeves had been truncated slightly, but the main embroidery on this was the colors were bright and strong. There wasn't any fading. Just a very, very attractive robe with a very large dragon on the front of it. Fabulous 19th century Qing robe. Ended up going for $20,160, 5 times its high estimate. Blew it away. And then that funny bronze that they had photographed, and they for some reason listed it backwards. Here's the prime shot. The primary shot was the back of the bronze. I can see how it happened, because if you glanced at it on a viewer setting up your catalog, this could just as easily look like the front. At any rate, this was a nice bronze, and the crowd liked it a lot. It was estimated at $1,500 to $2,000, ended up bringing $5,670. Not a bad result at all. Very good. And then on to this. This was the bronze that I absolutely loved. I thought this was one of the best bronzes of its type I'd ever seen. The way the head is done, the details of the face were just absolutely superb. Absolutely superb, and the lacquer gilt on the over the bronze body was in very good condition. It was really quite intact for one of these. I've seen them before where half of it's stripped off and it's been badly restored and all kinds of nightmares. But the head on this, the casting of the head, the facial features, as well as all the little details on the robes, which are easy to miss because the face is so good, were all excellent. And this was a really fine example. It was dated from the Ming Dynasty. It was estimated at $8,000 to $12,000, which seemed very reasonable to me for a bronze this size. It was 26 inches tall. This was a big bronze. Ended up going right up there, 4.5 times its estimate, pretty much, up to $53,550. But worth every penny. What a great looking bronze. Jeez, I love that thing. And this was another bronze that I liked a lot. I don't know if I mentioned this in the last video, but this was a good one. If you notice that it has all this groundwork, all this incise groundwork all over the body with these roux heads, a rather unusual form, nice elephant head handles on the side, beautiful taper to the shape, and every part of this bronze had been worked with extra decorations pushed into it and put onto it, and it looked really nice. And it was, let's see here, this was a late, probably Kangxi period bronze, early Qing. They just dated it as early Qing, but that's typically what that means. It was a foot tall, estimated at $700 to $900. Blew that away, went for $5,670. But nice bronze. Again, low estimate, just helping you out, telling you, just transmitting to you that the reserves aren't a problem. All right, and then onto this, the Zizhao Ming Dynasty vase, pear-shaped vase. I just thought it was a really sweet form. The shape was beautifully done. The decoration was done, that freehand sort of decoration that they did that was, just flowing, just beautifully done. And this one was estimated at $1,500 to $2,000. Everybody seemed to like it, apparently, and it went for $3,460. But a nice example in good condition, and this particular one came. It was in a collection. It was in the there it is, the Stephen Harvest collection, and he's a well-known collector. He's been around. Steve Harvest has been around for years. We used to deal with him actually when we ran live auctions. We came across his name on receipts fairly often, and he had a good eye. He has a good eye, and this is a nice-looking piece of pottery, very attractive. And then over to that little Henan black glazed bowl that we like so much. It was beautifully done. Yuan to Ming Dynasty went for $819. I think this was one of the really good buys of the day. I thought this was a really sweet little bowl, beautifully potted, beautifully glazed. It's got that dark brown glaze. They call it Henan black, but it's actually brown, as you can see on here. It's a deep, almost like a metal flake pattern in it. The foot was beautifully done. Nice little bowl, nice example. Bottom looks great on it. Here it is. And ended up going for just a little over $800. So, like I've said so many times, leave bids, because you never know. You never know what you're going to hit out on. You might get really lucky. In that case, somebody was very lucky. I think that if that bowl had sold for $1,600, I wouldn't have been at all shocked. And then onto this, the Meiping, the sort of Meiping or bottle form vase. Let's see here, how tall? Ming Dynasty earlier, estimated $800 to $1,200. I just like the color of this a lot, and I like the potting. I thought the potting was very, very good. The shape was very appealing. The foot on that stepped base, very attractive. And overall, this is a handsome little pot. And it was estimated at $800 to $1,200, which was very modest. Ended up going for $3,465, and it wasn't a big vase. This was fairly small, not 8 inches tall. This wasn't some 15-inch thing. This was fairly small, but nice. It was just a good, solid example. And then over to this, the transitional vase that we talked about, because I thought it was a very nice one. And it was estimated, as I mentioned, I think I mentioned in the video, it's a very, very low estimate, $2,000 to $3,000. And in the past, in the last few years, when these have come up, they all bring anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000. Well, this one brought a little more, $34,000. But it was beautifully drawn. The decoration on it was very tight and fine, which not always on transitional pieces are they done this way. But this one is really nicely done. A lot of details in the drawing, a lot of it. And the potting was excellent. And the glaze, the white glaze was excellent. Had that enway decoration. You can see that line of decoration running between the upper and lower registers here of the blue and white. You see that it's barely visible. That's called enway decoration. It's a nice, desirable added feature, and you find it often on transitional wares. You find it often on the brush pots and other forms. And this was a nice pot, and $34,000. So it's just across the board. It did really well. And there was this Femi-Vert plate. I thought it was wonderful. Kangxi period. I wasn't sure it would get up there because lately Kangxi plates have been very spotty. Well, this one took off. I was wondering if it would make the mid-range of the estimate. And bang, at $1,764, way over, almost double the high estimate. But a beautiful example, beautiful colors, and very little wear to the center. You notice that the enamels were all in very, very, very good shape. No slices, no cuts, no damage. All the way around. The rim was nice. The cafe au lait border, the cafe border, didn't have a lot of fritz in it. It sort of passes all the tests, as they say. The back of it looked very good. I don't see any, there were no repairs. The foot rim was very delicately done, and so forth, all the way up. And you have this little hint of a red, overglazed red decoration around the rim with this sort of crosshatch pattern. Very nicely done. $1,764. All right, and then over to these, the big square vases. Hey, I saw these and I thought the estimate was terribly low, and I said they should bring at least $3,000 or $4,000 a piece. Well, it went way over that. $34,650 for the pair, or about $17,000 a piece. Estimated at 2 to 3. I thought the estimate was very, very low, but I didn't think it was quite that low. But these took off. They're very desirable. It's a rare form, and it's a pair. So that adds to a lot of the chemistry and the interest in it. It had good-looking bases all the way around. The lids were in good shape. Other than looks like maybe the original finials had been taken off for some reason or knocked off, or the handle. This might be the original, and that's a replacement. I'm not sure. But other than that, they were great, and they have these warrior scenes on them. Beautifully done before the court. Lovely. $34,000 later, off they go. And then onto this, the big yellow Kangxi vase with the jade finial on it. 14 inches tall, estimated at $3,000 to $5,000. Went well beyond that, went up to $7,560. But it's a great package, and you get this dandy little jade figure on top of it to go with it. It was added later. This lid is not original to the piece, but it's a very fine, probably later Qing lid that was made for it when it was exported. And then they tossed onto it this nice little 18th century jade figure of the boy. So that really, makes it an attractive package. And the color was stunning. The color of this was, this is sort of like the what you want to see in yellow, in the imperial yellow from Chinese porcelain. That's the color right there. It's beautiful color, beautiful. And the pair of Kangxi vases, estimated at $10,000 to $15,000. We liked this a lot. I thought it was quite excellent, a mirrored pair, and ended up selling for $40,950 against a $10,000 to $15,000 estimate. So again, you're at 2.5 times estimate. But these were nice vases, and they were good size too. They were 17.5 inches tall, and they were originally sold by the Ralph Chait Gallery in New York, which of course is one of the finest and most well-established Chinese art dealers in the United States today. And they handled it before, and here it is at auction, and it did well. And this is the kind of thing where people say, well, when you buy from the very best dealers, how do you make out with it? Well, there you go, $40,950, way over the estimate. And then on to this very nice little mallet vase with the Kangxi, from the Kangxi period. Here's a picture of the base with this Lingbai, nicely finished foot, very neat, very tidy, and a fairly rare form. This is a fairly unusual form, and it's of outstanding quality. The quality of this was just absolutely excellent. And this wasn't a big vase. This was a fairly small vase. It was like 6 or 9 inches tall. I was going to say 6 or 8 inches tall. It's 9 inches tall, pretty small. $10,000 to $15,000 estimate, went well over that, $44,000. And this is sort of how the sale went, so they must be very pleased there. And then there was the Japanese blue and white teapot. It's interesting, when we reviewed this initially, I think it was titled Chinese. They must have changed their mind. We thought it was Japanese. They apparently decided it was Japanese as well after looking at it a little more. And it was a beautiful, beautiful little late 17th century pot with silver mounts on it. Just a great example. Beautiful, tight, everything. It had everything going for it that you'd want. And teapots in this period are quite rare. They had it dated as 18th or 19th century. I think it was a good bit older than that. I think it was probably 17th or early 18th century, something like that. It was estimated at $400 to $600, brought $1,386. But that's not a crazy price, because that's a really nice looking teapot, really, really attractive. And then the blue glazed Chanshu Ping, just a great looking pot all the way around, Qinlong marked on the base. Had a crack in the bottom though. The bottom did have a crack in it, which impacted the price obviously. But this sacrificial blue on this was really nice. Like a royal midnight blue. This is one of those examples that glows. It's sort of like that vase that we saw earlier this year. It had the same thing, but it had all the enamel decoration on it that was sold in Italy. I think it was in Italy. And here, or was it in Ireland, Scotland? It was in Europe somewhere. It was that. You remember it. You remember it. But at any rate, again, this beautiful ground sacrificial blue, estimated at $10,000 to $15,000. This thing blew it off. Went up to $94,500. But the color was just great, and I think that helped overcome the fact that it had a star crack on the bottom. $94,500. All right, and then on to this. This was the main event of the sale, and I talked to Rick about this. He was pretty excited about it. He told me, so we gave it a modest estimate to get it in there and get interest up, and the strategy absolutely worked. $100,000 to $150,000 estimate, which everybody that deals and sees this stuff knows that's just a signal to the audience that they're going to sell it with a reserve of under $100,000. Ended up selling for $504,000, including the premium, but not an insane price given the quality. The quality of this was really excellent, and it's a really good one because there are already copies of this form, this almost identical style, available right now on the internet for sale. The copies there were already copies on the market around the time this sale was launched. Or put online. It was amazing how they do that. But anyway, this was a nice example. Beautiful color, beautiful yellow, clear colors, and did really well. $504,000. All right, and then on to this little slip decorated brush pot. It did better than I thought. I had a bunch of inquiries about this because people were wondering if I thought it was authentic and what's the story with it, because it's a bit atypical in its design with this white slip calligraphy all over it, celadon body, and everything. And I looked at it from the photos, and I told the people that inquired, we had a number of inquiries, as I said, on it. I thought it was absolutely right as rain. Good looking glaze, nice script on it. The foot rim looked very, very good to us. The way the areas of wear on these, this is how they should look. They shouldn't be completely even and perfect. And then you have, of course, a chin lung mark, which doesn't always mean anything. Because Lord knows they put enough chin lung marks on things today, but in this case it was okay. It looked fine to us, and just a beautiful example. I didn't think it would bring this, but I think we were thinking, you know, six to 10,000 or somewhere in there. Well, apparently a couple of people must have done a lot of research on it and looked it up and realized how rare it was, and it took off, and it went for $37,800. All right, and then the big basin that I thought was so nifty with the flowers all over the outside of it. I just thought this was interesting. Just an interesting. It was about 15 inches in diameter, a little bit dirty looking. It would do well with a cleanup, but an unusual form. An unusual form sometimes are just worth reaching out for and spending a little extra money so you can get it. It was estimated $1,000 to $1,500 and went for $3,465. Not crazy, not crazy. I thought that was nice. I thought it was nice. Looked great in the center row table, and then the Gerardo vase with the cranes on the side, on the shoulders of the body. This was a beautifully decorated piece of Gerardo ware, and Gerardo ware lately has been very soft in the market. So I was happy to see this price, $1,638. When I first saw this, I thought, well, you know, given how Gerardo has been doing over the last couple of years, it may only bring, you know, $800 or $900 or $1,000. And it went well above it. It went up to $1,638, which may not sound like an enormous difference, but it may indicate a little strength in the Japanese market. Okay, so we'll see. We'll check it out. The rest of the Japanese things also did quite well. Across the board, there was a couple of things that didn't sell, but the prints did well. The lacquer pieces, all of the rest of it did fine. So I think it indicates maybe people are starting to notice that Japanese porcelain and art, for the quality and the cost relative to Chinese things for quality and cost, it represents a heck of a good buy. If you're just getting into this and you're interested in Asian art and you want to get some really fine examples, and Japanese things are appealing to you, you should really look at them, because right now the Japanese market has been and still remains a bit on the soft side, and you can acquire some absolutely great things for modest amounts of money. So it's certainly worth looking into. All right, but that was the sale. Overall, it was a very good auction. I think they should be extremely pleased at Doyle's over this. They were sort of like one of the first out of the chute with an auction for Asia Week. You don't know how it's going to go. There's a lot of apprehension. I know there was at the other auction houses. They were curious. They didn't know, because there's so much going on in the world right now. The world's very there's a lot of, you know, a lot of junk going on, and I hope none of it gets any worse than it already is. But here we are, and it was very good to see the Chinese market hold up, see the Japanese things do well, and I think overall Asia Week is going to turn out to be quite positive. I think they're going to be pretty happy with it. And we'll be back in a couple of days, in a few days, when the other sales and the dust settles. We'll come back and sort of do a review on the Sotheby's auctions and the Christie's auctions, and anything else that catches our eye. So we'll be back, and we're working on a couple of other videos right now that we'll be putting up in the next week or so. So check back. There's an interesting one that we're working on to do with the Cultural Revolution. And what happened in the stories about the destruction of Chinese art and what supposedly took place, and we're going to look at it and take a little bit deeper view and see what really happened there, because it was surprising to me to learn about some of this stuff, and I think it'll be surprising to you too. And it's sort of all good to learn about, I think. So here we are. All right. Thanks for watching, and have a great week. Okay. Bye-bye. And subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. Subscribe to us here on YouTube. It helps us out. Okay. Bye-bye.